September 12, 2007. London Cafe. 3:47 p.m. Margaret Thompson sat across from journalist David Walsh, her weathered hands trembling slightly as she prepared to reveal secrets that had haunted her for 10 years. For over a decade, Margaret had cleaned the private quarters of Kensington Palace, entering Diana's most intimate spaces when the princess thought she was completely alone. From hidden corners and forgotten corridors, Margaret had witnessed Diana's tears, her phone calls, her secret meetings, and most shocking of all, her desperate attempts to protect herself from threats she saw coming. "Mr. Walsh," Margaret said quietly, "people think they know Princess Diana from what they saw on television. But I saw the real Diana, the one who cried herself to sleep, the one who wrote letters she never sent, the one who knew she was going to die long before anyone else believed it." But Margaret's most devastating revelation wasn't about what she witnessed. It was about what she found hidden in Diana's private rooms that proved the princess had been documenting everything. The Invisible Witness, 1987, a decade in Diana's shadow. Margaret Thompson had been head of housekeeping for Diana's private quarters at Kensington Palace for 10 years, a position that made her nearly invisible to the princess, while giving her unprecedented access to Diana's most private moments. "People don't notice cleaning ladies," Margaret told David Walsh. "We're like furniture to them. They act like we're not there, say things they'd never say if they thought anyone was listening." What Margaret heard and saw during her decade of service painted a picture of Diana that was far different from her public image, not the confident, glamorous princess, but a frightened young woman who lived in constant fear and documented everything because she knew no one would believe her stories. "The first thing you need to understand," Margaret continued, "is that Princess Diana was terrified, every single day. The confident woman you saw on television was an act. In private, she was scared, paranoid, and absolutely convinced that powerful people wanted her dead." But Margaret's most shocking discovery was how Diana had been preparing for her own death for years. The hidden documents. 1993, The Secret Archive. Margaret's most startling discovery came in 1993 when she was cleaning Diana's private study and found a loose floorboard beneath the Persian rug. "I wasn't snooping," Margaret insisted. "The floorboard creaked when I stepped on it, and when I investigated, I found it was deliberately loose. Underneath was a metal box. Inside the box, Margaret found hundreds of documents that Diana had been secretly collecting. Copies of threatening letters sent to Diana, transcripts of conversations Diana had recorded, photographs of people following her, medical records showing evidence of poisoning attempts, a detailed timeline of accidents that had happened to people who opposed the royal family." Princess Diana wasn't just collecting evidence, Margaret realized. She was building a case, like she was preparing for a trial that might happen after her death. The most chilling document was a letter Diana had written to herself, dated December 1992. "If something happens to me, people need to know it wasn't an accident. The following people have threatened me directly or indirectly," followed by a list of names. "I am documenting everything because I know they will try to make me look crazy if I speak out while alive." Don't miss this shocking revelation, what Margaret found in Diana's bedroom that proved someone was watching her. The surveillance evidence. 1994, proof of palace spying. While cleaning Diana's bedroom in early 1994, Margaret made a discovery that proved Diana's paranoia was actually justified surveillance. "I was dusting the ornate molding around the ceiling when I found something that didn't belong, a tiny device hidden in the decorative carving." Margaret, whose late husband had worked in electronics, recognized the device as professional surveillance equipment. It was a listening device. Someone was recording everything Princess Diana said in her private bedroom. When Margaret quietly informed Diana about her discovery, the princess wasn't surprised. She just nodded and said, "I know, Margaret, there are more. Help me find them." Together, Diana and Margaret discovered surveillance equipment throughout Diana's private quarters, listening devices in every room, a camera hidden in the bathroom mirror, recording equipment in the telephone, tracking devices in her personal belongings. "We found 17 different surveillance devices in Princess Diana's private rooms," Margaret revealed. "Someone was monitoring her every word, every movement, every private moment." The most disturbing discovery was that the surveillance equipment was being regularly maintained. Someone with access to the palace was changing batteries and retrieving recordings on a weekly basis. You won't believe what Margaret witnessed during Diana's secret midnight activities. The Midnight Writer, 1995 to 1996, Diana's secret documentation project. Margaret's duties sometimes required late-night cleaning, which gave her access to Diana's most private activities during the early morning hours. Princess Diana suffered from insomnia, especially after her divorce. She would often be awake at 2 or 3 a.m., writing, What Diana was writing, Margaret discovered, was a comprehensive autobiography that detailed every aspect of her life with the royal family. She wasn't just writing her memoirs, she was writing evidence. Every conversation, every threat, every attempt to control or harm her, all of it was being documented in precise detail. Margaret witnessed Diana working on this secret project for over a year. She would sit at her desk for hours, writing by hand in leather-bound journals. Sometimes she would cry while writing. Sometimes she would get angry and write so hard the pen would tear through the paper. Diana's secret autobiography contained chapters with titles like How They Drove Me to Suicide, The Camilla Conspiracy, The Palace's Campaign to Take My Children, Evidence of Poisoning Attempts, Why They Want Me Dead. Princess Diana told me once that she was writing her story so that William and Harry would know the truth about what really happened to their mother. But Diana's most secretive activity was her regular communication with someone outside the palace, the secret ally. 1996-1997, Diana's hidden support network. During her final year, Margaret witnessed Diana having regular secret communications with someone who was helping her document the threats against her life. Every Tuesday at midnight, Princess Diana would receive a phone call on a special phone she kept hidden in her wardrobe. The conversations were always brief, but she would take detailed notes. Margaret learned that Diana's mysterious contact was providing her with information about threats against her life and helping her build evidence of the conspiracy. After these phone calls, Princess Diana would update her hidden documents. She was getting intelligence from someone on the inside, someone who knew what was being planned against her. The identity of Diana's secret ally remained a mystery, but Margaret noticed patterns. The calls always came from different numbers. Diana addressed the caller as guardian. The conversations often involved warnings about specific dates or events. Diana would sometimes change her plans immediately after these calls. Whoever was calling Princess Diana was protecting her from threats she couldn't see coming, at least until the very end. Don't miss this heartbreaking discovery: what Margaret found in Diana's room after her death, the final message. September 1997, Diana's last documentation. After Diana's death, Margaret was asked to pack up the princess's personal belongings. What she found during this process revealed Diana's final preparations for her death. Hidden behind a painting in her study, I found a sealed envelope marked to be opened only after my death. Inside the envelope was Diana's final letter to the world. If you are reading this, it means they succeeded in killing me. Everything I documented in my hidden archives is true. I was murdered because I knew too much, loved too much, and threatened too much. The surveillance equipment in my rooms proves I was being monitored. The threatening letters prove I was being intimidated. The medical evidence proves there were attempts to poison me. I documented everything because I knew no one would believe that the royal family could order the murder of the mother of future kings. But they could, and they did. William and Harry, your mother loved you more than life itself. I died trying to protect you from the same fate. Be careful who you trust. Remember that power corrupts absolutely. To the world, I was not mentally unstable. I was not paranoid. I was documenting real threats from real people who had real power to carry them out. My death is not an accident. It is murder, and the evidence to prove it is hidden where only people who truly loved me will think to look. Diana Spencer, Princess of Wales. Final words written with love and hope for justice. Margaret also found detailed instructions about where Diana had hidden her complete evidence archive. The evidence disappears. September 1997, the cover-up begins. When Margaret tried to deliver Diana's final letter to the media, she discovered that powerful forces were already working to suppress any evidence of Diana's murder. Within hours of Princess Diana's death, men in suits arrived at Kensington Palace. They said they were from royal security and needed to secure Diana's personal effects. Margaret watched as these men systematically searched Diana's rooms and removed all of Diana's hidden documentation, the surveillance equipment she and Diana had discovered, Diana's secret autobiography, her correspondence with her mysterious guardian, any evidence of the threats against her life. They knew exactly where to look. Someone had told them about Diana's hiding places. When Margaret tried to speak about what she had witnessed, she was immediately silenced. I was told that discussing Princess Diana's delusions would be considered a breach of my employment contract and could result in criminal charges for violating royal privacy. Margaret was forced to sign additional non-disclosure agreements and was transferred to a different position where she had no access to Diana's former quarters. The truth suppressed. 1997-2007. 10 years of silence. For 10 years, Margaret kept silent about what she had witnessed. But Diana's death haunted her. I knew Princess Diana had been murdered, and I knew there was evidence to prove it. but that evidence had been destroyed by the same people who killed her. Margaret's decision to finally speak out came after years of watching the world accept the official story of Diana's death. I couldn't die knowing that I had stayed silent while Princess Diana's killers got away with murder. She trusted me with her secrets, and I owed her the truth. Margaret's revelations about Diana's hidden documentation project and the evidence of surveillance provide new understanding of Diana's final years. Princess Diana wasn't paranoid. She was documenting a real conspiracy against her life. She wasn't mentally unstable. She was gathering evidence of her own murder. The hidden truth revealed. Margaret Thompson's decade of cleaning Diana's private quarters gave her unique access to the princess's most guarded secrets and deepest fears. Her revelations about Diana's secret documentation project prove that the princess was systematically gathering evidence of threats against her life. The discovery of surveillance equipment throughout Diana's private rooms confirms that she was being monitored by unknown parties with sophisticated resources. Most importantly, Margaret's testimony about Diana's final letter and hidden evidence archive suggests that proof of Diana's murder existed, but was systematically destroyed after her death. Diana's trust in her cleaning lady, one of the few people who saw her without pretense or performance, led to Margaret becoming the keeper of secrets that could have changed history. But those secrets were suppressed, just as Diana predicted they would be. The testimony that matters. Margaret Thompson may have been just a cleaning lady, but she was also the witness to Diana's final years that the royal family never considered dangerous. Her testimony provides the missing pieces of Diana's story, the private pain behind the public smile, the real fear behind the supposed paranoia, the documented evidence behind the dismissed theories. Diana knew she was going to be murdered, and she spent her final years trying to gather enough evidence to ensure her killers would be caught. Margaret Thompson helped her in that effort, and now she's the last person alive who knows where the evidence was hidden and how it was destroyed. Some truths are preserved by the most unlikely witnesses. Some secrets survive in the memories of people the powerful never notice. Margaret Thompson was invisible to the royal family, but she saw everything that mattered, and now, 10 years too late, she's ready to tell the world what she witnessed in the private quarters of a princess who knew she was going to die.